Hello 506 students, this is the second SPSS exercise video. In the last video, we learned how to input data, and we also got a simple descriptive statistics in SPSS. In this exercise 2 video, we will learn how to read some basic information of your variables, and then we will learn how to create frequency tables and bar charts in SPSS. Before we open SPSS, please download the data file for this exercise from Canvas. The name of the file is 506 SPSS survey data.sav. After downloading the data file, I suggest you save it in a secure folder so that you can easily locate the data. And if you have extra time, I suggest you read the brief description of the data. Reading a description of a dataset is generally very helpful to get familiar with variables in the data and the overall data structure. So feel free to stop this video for a minute and read the data description. Now let's start SPSS software. And in the exercise 1 video, I forgot to say that I was using SPSS through CSDE terminal server. As you can see here, CSDE TS3. In the CSDE server, the version of SPSS is 19, so version 19, which is pretty dated, but it works just fine. So if you installed SPSS 26 version, which is the latest version on your computer, after getting the authentication code, your initial SPSS screen would be a little bit different from mine. Even if your initial window appears different from mine, it is totally fine because the initial screen is different between version 19 and 26. Let's just close it. And then click the File tab on the very left top of the window here. Because we're gonna open an existing dataset, bring the cursor to Open and click Data. Then, in this small new window, find the folder you saved the data file. In my case, I saved the data in the 506 SPSS folder. So, select the data file and click Open. Now, let's find out how to read the data we have. There are two different tabs at the bottom left: Data View and Variable View. And let's see the Data View first. And in the Data View, you can see all the different data points of each variable. Can you see the name of the variable? If you see the top of each column, you can see the variable names: ID, sex, age, marital, child, and so on. These are all variables, and under the variable names, we can see many different values for each variable. We call the value as a data point or an observation. Anyway, if you want to see each value or data point of a variable, you need to look into each column. Then what about the row? Each row means a single case of a study. What does a single case mean then? A case is a basic unit that you gather information from. For example, if you surveyed a large number of study participants, person to person, a basic unit for your survey would be a participant. And if you gather information based on a household as a whole, a basic unit for your survey would be a household. And each case contains many different variable values. In a nutshell, each column represents value of a single variable, and each row represents value of a single case. Now let's look into variable view by clicking the variable view tab here. In variable view, you can see the characteristics of each variable. In the first column, we can see the names of variables. And one thing you should keep in mind for this column is that variable names in SPSS should not have any space between the letters. So, as we can see here, there are no spaces between letters. But if you really want to put a space in the name, use underscore. As you can see here, this variable, mah_1, what happened if I use space other than underscore? Let's try. I'm gonna erase underscore and put space here and hit enter. When I use a space in a variable name, it says variable name contains an illegal character, which means you cannot use it technically. And another thing that you need to remember is that you cannot use number in the very first place of your variable name. As you can see in this variable name list, there's no number in the first place of the name. They're all letters. So in other words, you have to start your variable name with a letter, not a number. And the next column shows the types of variables. In most cases, we use numeric type. As you can see here, all the variables in our data are numeric. But if there's a variable having alphabetic characters, then that's not numeric, right? If so, we can change the type of variable by clicking the cell that we want to change the type of the variable and click the three dot shape button here and then choose string and hit OK. Then the type of the variable will be changed. But actually we're not going to change for now. Anyway, and the third column, width, refers to the number of maximum digits allowed for each variable. But this is not important, so let's go to the fourth column. The fourth column, decimals, refers to the decimal places of data for each variable. So if it is 0, that means there are no decimal points. And if it is 2, that means the variable value shows 2 decimal points. For example, let's go down to a variable with 2 decimal places. Yep, here it is. The variable name smoke1. Then how can we look into the actual data for the variable smoke1? Maybe you can click the data view tab here and look for the variable name, but there's much easier way. If you double click the number on the left of the variable name, so 134 here, double click, then it goes right into the variable smoke1. See, here's the smoke1. And we can see the value of the variable are shown to 2 decimal points, like 1.00, 0.00. And now let's get back to the variable view. And let's move on to the next column, label. With label, you can describe your variable name in detail. This is especially helpful when your variable name is difficult to understand at once. For example, when we see the variable name source here, we have no clue what source it is. But if we check the label, we can see the variable source refers to the source of stress. And the next column is values. Values here refers to the values of a variable. For example, if you go to the data view of source variable by double-clicking here, we can see all the value of the variable, and I'm skimming all these values by scrolling down, and it appears that 1 is the minimum value and 9 is the maximum value. But I have no idea what these numbers mean, 1 to 9. What does value of 1 mean, and what does value of 9 mean? In this situation, we need to check if the value of a variable are labeled. Let's go back to the variable view window by double-clicking the variable name. And then it automatically go back to the variable you want to see. Now, if you click a cell in the value column, a button with 3 dots will be activated, and if you click the 3-dot button, you can see the values that are labeled. There are 9 values here that is labeled as work, spouse or partner, relationships, money or finances, time. And here are answers to my questions. I was curious about what value 1 means and what value 9 means, right? And as you can see, value 1 for the source variable means work. And the value 9 for the source variable means time. And all these values refers to the source of stress. So let's close this window and let's move on to the next column. Missing column shows whether you define special missing values or not. Even though all the cells under this missing column say none, that does not mean there are no missing values. None here means there are no user-defined missing value. In other words, it means you did not define any special missing values other than basic missing values. But let's just move on to the next column because this is not important for now. And the next column, which is column, this column shows how wide each variable column in data view, and this is not important as well. So let's skip it. And then the next column, align, is just the alignment of each variable column. So let's just pass this as well. And measure column. This column shows the measurement level of a variable. There are 3 levels of measurement in SPSS. They are scale, ordinal, and nominal. I guess you already learned there are 4 levels of measurement, such as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So I'm assuming that you know what nominal and ordinal variables are. But you may not have heard of a scale variable. Scale variable in SPSS include interval and ratio variables. So if you look into the actual variables in the data, the age variable is considered a scale variable because it is a ratio variable. And sex variable is considered as nominal variable because it is categorical without any order. And education variable is considered as ordinal variable because it is categorical with order. Now let's move on to the next role column. This column can be used to sort out independent and dependent variables, but you can just ignore this column because we rarely use this column. So in general, all you need to care about in variable view screen are 5 columns. They are name, type, label, value, and measure columns. These 5 are the essential parts you need to understand for now. Okay, now let's create frequency tables and bar charts with the data. We're going to use 5 variables to create frequency tables and bar charts, and they are marital status, child, highest education, age group 5, and high stress. And to create frequency tables and bar charts, click Analyze, go to Descriptive Statistics, and click Frequencies. Then a small frequency window will pop up, and in this window, on the left box, all the variable names are here. And let's stretch this window a little bit so that we can see full variable names. However, sometimes we can see some brackets in this list. When a variable name has brackets, that means the variable has a label. And SPSS automatically show the label in the first place and put the original name in the brackets. For example, sex variable has brackets and it's labeled as sex as well. We can see here. And as we can see here, there should be a variable named marital status, but when we see the list of the variable in the variable view screen, there's no marital status variable. Only variable we have is marital, not marital status. This is because SPSS put the variables label first in the variable list and put the original variable name in the brackets. So this is label and this is variable name. But if you have no label, SPSS does not make any brackets in this list. For example, ID does not have a label. See, ID does not have label. So ID does not have a label, so no brackets, but only variable name shows up here. Same thing goes for age variable. No label here and no brackets. Same thing goes for smoke num variable. No label here and no brackets. Anyway, let's put the 5 variables to create frequency tables and bar charts. I'm gonna choose marital status, child, highest education, and if you go down, age 5 groups, and high stress. There it is. And then make sure if the display frequency tables box is checked. It should be checked. And if all you want to see is frequency tables, you can just click OK now. But if you want to see bar charts as well, you need to click Charts and choose Bar Charts and click Continue. Now is the time to click OK. And then eventually we get frequency tables and bar charts for each variable we chose. Can you see these tables and charts? So with these tables and bar charts, now you can answer to the exercise 2 questions. Now, if you want to print this output, you can simply click this print shape icon and choose the printer you want to use and click OK. But for those of you who are using CSDE server, printer connection sometimes does not work, and in this case you can export the output as a Word document and email the Word document to yourself. Because I'm currently using the CSDE server, I can show you how. So I'm gonna close this window, and to export this output as a Word document, click File and then click Export and choose the Word RTF.doc type and click the Browse, and then choose the folder you would like to save the output document and put the name of the file. I'm gonna say SPSS to output, and then click Save, and then click OK. Now let's check if the document is saved correctly. So yeah, this is the folder that I saved the output document. Let's open it. Yay! The output is saved just right. Right? Okay, let's just close it. And let's go back to the SPSS output window. And now let's try to save the output as SPSS format. So from the output window, click File, and this time we need to click Save As and choose the folder you would like to save the output file. And put the new name on it. And then click Save. And because we already saved the output, just close it. And let's close this window as well. And I'm not gonna change anything for this dataset because I don't want to change this dataset. So click No. Yep, so we're all done for this exercise 2, and I will see you in the next exercise video. Bye bye.